What's up? Welcome into your daily. No, it's the Buckeye Rush Hour. Gotcha. Fooled you. For Friday, July 19th, 2024. Hope you're having a good one. It is the 2-year anniversary of the Daily Buckeye Blitz. So let's all celebrate together, pour something strong, and we'll get it going here. Please pop in the chat, get your questions, comments in there, all the happy stuff, and we'll get to them. So today we're going to do a little Breaking Boomz episode for our guy Jarquez Carter. Big D tackle out of Florida, up by Gainesville in that area, not far off I-75. I'm sure we've all driven past it 100 times if you've ever driven south on 75. But anyway, then we're going to get into I got a little game for you guys. I got matchups, win totals, head-to-head matchups. So, for example, which team is going to win more games, regular season, out of 12 regular season games, who's going to win more? For example, you can bet on these at Bet Online, or the unofficial bookie of this show anyway. Like, for example, Bama versus Michigan. Who do you think is going to win more? We'll run through some of those schedules and stuff. There's some good matchups here. Some of them are former head coaches, like USC versus Oklahoma, the Lincoln Riley matchup. But anyways, we'll get into that after we talk about our guy Jarquez. Let's do it here. So looking at his 24/7 profile, he's a 4-star, 8.921, just snuck in under the wire there to become a 4-star, 6'2", 284, Newberry, Florida. It's a small, more rural division of Florida high school ball. So the level of competition is not tops in the state. They don't play like, your Chaminade Madonnas and those South Florida schools. So not top level, but it doesn't mean he's not a good player. Anyways, he's nationally ranked number 394, number 42 D lineman, number 55 player in Florida. But if you look at his offer list, it's loaded. So reading his scouting report, it goes like this. He dominated lower level of competition in Florida. He's under 6'2" and has short arms. You could say those two things are drawbacks, but he makes up for the lack of length with his active hands and short area skills. He's quick to get into blockers, flashes some impressive knockback power for his size, and keeps his legs pumping. He's frequently making stops in pursuit, so he doesn't give up on plays. His production speaks for itself. Last year, his junior year, he totaled 81 tackles, 26 sacks, 33 career varsity games. Well, that's up to this point. Yeah. 81 TFLs. That sounds made up. 81 TFLs, that's what they say. Anyway, 26 sacks in 33 varsity games so far. He projects as a 3-tech in a 4-3 front. He could provide valuable minutes in a power forward rotation after a few years of development. He's young for his grade. He will turn 18 right before his freshman year of college. In 2022, he had 78 tackles, 23 TFLs, 10 sacks, 8 QB hurries, 2 passes batted down, and a forced fumble. So the decision to schedule a last-minute, midweek official visit back in June was a good one for Jarquez, and he's now commitment number 24 for the 2025 Buckeye class. He picked Ohio State over his top group, his top 5 of Miami, Penn State, Florida, and UCF. So 3 of those schools aren't in Florida. So they got him away from the in-state schools. He took official visits to all those programs. He had more than 25 total offers. He did actually first visit Columbus back in November. That trip really started the relationship between him and Larry Johnson, and of course Alan Clark, the defensive line GA. Carter visited Ohio State officially in mid-June. He took tons of visits to Gainesville nearby. Why wouldn't you? If you're within a 30-minute drive or less, why wouldn't you go to Gainesville every day? I would. And I don't even go to college. Anyway, Larry Johnson's style was different than anything else Carter has seen. Carter talked about why he chose OSU. He said, quote, "The main reason is Larry Johnson. He's a legend. He's truly a legend. Being able to learn from him and elevate my game, from seeing the way he trains, the way he practices, and the way he teaches, it's not like any other coach." So Carter is a bit smaller than the prototypical defensive tackle prospect that Larry Johnson recruits, but Carter does see a path to the NFL through development with the Buckeyes. He talked about Michael Hall as an example. Carter said, quote, "You can see people with my height, my frame, like Michael Hall. Coach Johnson can get him to the league. That's the real key why I'm going to Ohio State. If you think about, you see what he produces, I feel like Ohio State is the best program in the country." So Carter's also disruptive as an interior pass rusher. He's not just a run stopper. His film shows him lined up both on the edge and in the middle of his Newberry High School defense. He talked about what OSU is getting from him as a player. He said, quote, "Ohio State is getting a great player, person that's hungry and won't give up. I promise I will never stop working and will give it my all." Alan Clark actually tweeted out last night after the commitment that he said that Carter is Mike Hall 2.0. So the Buckeyes are up to 24 commitments. Carter makes the third defensive tackle to commit to Ohio State in the last 3 weeks. He joins North Carolina's Trajan Odom and Pennsylvania's Maxwell Roy. Now, we know Larry Johnson's defensive line recruiting has come up short the last couple of seasons, but LJ is restocking the shelves with this class, no doubt about it. And he's not done either. The Buckeyes are still working hard to flip Auburn commit Malik Autry. He's one of those rare one techs, another run stuffer. He's going to visit for the Team Up North game. But what's interesting about that is that tells you that he's really not interested in Auburn, because that's the same day as the Iron Bowl. They always play, the rivalry games on the same week. So then you can't forget about Jakeem Stewart, the 2026 guy who is possibly going to reclassify. So those are both takes. If both those would fall in our lap, we're definitely taking them. I'd be shocked if both did. I think one is probably more likely to happen than the other. But yeah. I haven't heard any official word on an Ohio State recruiting event yet. There is a week at the end of this month, where recruits can go back and visit schools. You see a lot of schools doing like barbecues and things like that. So nothing yet on an end of the month event for the Buckeyes. It's only like a few days where recruits can come on campus. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just do individual visitors like David Sanders, maybe get him back up, because he's more of he's not a big party guy, group guy. Him and his family are very serious. And I think it might be best to have them, around a small group of people. That way you can continue to work on the relationship, see where they're at. But things are sounding positive for David Sanders. But if we find out anything on a recruiting event, I'll let you know. I did want to look at the team totals here for the 2025 cycle. Alabama has taken over first place by average recruit. They're at a 9.467. Over 94 is insane. I don't know how the hell they're doing it. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like Saban is still heavily involved in recruiting when it comes to Alabama. So he must be there all the time, helping Kalen DeBoer and his staff. He can do a lot more now that he's not a coach or anything on the staff. He can take these kids to dinner. He can do whatever he wants, like, kind of like a booster almost. But so maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Then in second is Oregon. The Ducks are at 9.389. Buckeyes are in third, 9.370. LSU in fourth with 9.367 right behind us. Then you got a little drop off here. Georgia coming in after LSU is 9.295. Then Florida State with just 12 commits is a 9.289. I'm guessing that's going to fall as they get more 3-stars. Clemson's after them, 9.283. Cheaters, 9.166. They finally decided to start recruiting in this 25 class. So A&M, Texas, Notre Dame below them. So that's what we're looking at compared to the rest of the country. So let's pop in the chat, see what you guys got going on. If there's anything you want to talk about, we'll go that route. If not, we will get into the matchup games, because I want to get you guys involved and ask you, who do you have in this particular matchup? And strictly just regular season wins. Bama versus the Cheaters, whatever. We've got about 8 or 10 matchups here. I just took a freaking walk outside for 20 minutes. That was a stupid idea. It's like 1,000 degrees. All right. Let's get in the chat. Doug is the first one in. OH, everyone. Go Bucks. IO to you, Doug. Billy IO. Tyler OH. Billy IO. Odysseus, go Bucks. Odysseus says Bama wins more. I got the Cheaters going 7-5. Ooh, first low blow of the night. I love it. I do like 7-5. I actually got in there early when their win total was over under 9.5. Yes, I took the under. Now it's been moved down to 8.5. But you're still under that, Odysseus, so I might want to throw some action on that. Troy says the kid has a quick first step. Seen that on the breakdown films yesterday. Kind of reminds me of Hall body-wise. Exactly. Yeah, he does have a nice first step. I like his ability when the scouting report mentions something about D linemen not quitting on plays and pursuing, from behind, following down the line of scrimmage and making plays. That means a lot. That shows you that the kid has heart, he has toughness, and does not give up on a play, and that means a lot, especially for D linemen. It's expected of linebackers, corners, safeties, sure, but D linemen, especially interior guys, those guys are carrying a lot of weight, man. If they can get down the line and pursue and make plays, that is meaningful to me, along with all the rest, of course, but that always sticks out in my mind. Odysseus says Carter's measurements are why he's rated so low. Yes, exactly. 6'2", and he's got short arms, Christopher says he won the bench press competition at Rivals 5-star camp. He did. Yeah, he put up, what, 26, 27? That's like NFL, NFL combine numbers. Let's see. I wonder if I could do 26. Probably not. I'm not going to try. I did. What year did Javion Clowney come out? Whatever year that was, he did like some minuscule amount. He did like 15 or 16 or something like that. I did. So I was like, I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to see how many I can rep out. I think I did 21 that day. Buried Clowney. Anyway, Odysseus says the recruiting nerds always get enamored with measurables, of course. Yeah. Billy says lots of offers from the big boys. Exactly. Yeah. He's got offers from all the SEC schools and stuff. So that's more important than rankings, ratings, and all that stupid shit. I agree. Christopher says, because measurables mean a lot in the D line and O linemen. That's why you never usually see short players in those positions. That's true, but you occasionally do. BB Landers, he wasn't very tall, but he was effective when he played. He wasn't, a 4-year starter or All-American or anything like that, but he was effective. Full-blooded Buckeye says, "Let's go Buckeyes! All right, let's go FBB." So I'm not calling you. Odysseus says, I know, I just think recruiting sites are lazy watching film. That's true. I mean, and a lot of guys don't actually get real eyeballs in person on these kids. They're scouting from their huddle tape or something like that, you know. So, yeah, it's not always very accurate. In recruiting, nerds are lazy. We know that. Doug says, dude has NFL strength as a junior in high school going into his senior season. Crazy strength and his first step quickness. He's going to be a problem for offensive linemen. Yeah, he definitely is. And don't forget about his hands. That's what Larry Johnson preaches. That's one of his cornerstones of his teachings on the D line is the scissor hands. You know, he talks about the hand fighting, all that shit. That's important, man. And he's already got some of that hand quickness. So he can karate chop the shit out of some offensive linemen. Troy says, I heard this kid had small arms and I was expecting T-Rex type arms. Was kind of let down watching his tape. He looked like normal. LOL. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you expect to see like little, you know, T-Rex. Christopher says, I thought he looked a little bigger than the measurables in his tapes. Yeah, yeah, I listed it. What I say? 260. Ah, fudge. Let me pull it back up. 284. Yeah, 284. It's pretty big. I mean, when you consider the competition he's going up against, he probably looks a lot bigger. And I doubt he's facing any 300-pound O lineman in that division of Florida football. Let's see. Oops. Doug says if we get Malik Autry, he would be 3 and out, and reminds me of Big Daddy. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt he's not staying 4 years, barring injury. He's gonna. All these guys coming in this 2025 class, they're going to be pushing for playing time early and often, man, from the ends to the D tackles, because this is the first class where we're really actually reloading, you know, and getting major numbers along that D line. Like I mentioned earlier, we missed on so many dudes over the years, especially the last 2 to 3 years. He just freaking Larry Johnson just hadn't hit his numbers, not just quality of guys, but numbers, like warm bodies to stock the room. That's been the challenge over the last couple of seasons, you know. So now he's finally getting that quality and warm bodies, good dudes in there. So that's very helpful. Billy says he looked like a pretty big kid in the highlight tape I saw. Yeah, and again, you can compare him to the guys he's going up against. Christopher says Autry is literally one of a kind. He's already NFL talent. Yeah, he's that rare one tech. You know, the run stopper, run plugger, lining up right over the center's nose. So yeah, he would be a day one possible starter, depending on how he comes in. You know, Jesus. Let's see what else. Billy says the Iron Bowl is in Tuscaloosa, so I think him coming up here for the game doesn't mean a real lot. Is Tuscaloosa really that far though from where he lives? It's all Alabama. I mean, it's not a big state. I think it means something. I think it definitely does. Um, it's a lot farther. Tus- uh, Columbus is a lot farther than Tuscaloosa. I think it means something. Christopher says Trey McNutt moved his commitment back using that Ohio State clout to get more attention. I wish he would just get the shit over with. I agree. We all know he's not going to Ohio State, right? Everybody has accepted that, and we can move beyond that because he's not, right? I just saw another crystal ball come in for Oregon yesterday or the day before. He's going to Oregon, you know, unless somebody swoops in with a bigger bag at the last minute. You know, Miami, LSU, they just snagged that DJ Pickett kid. That was a surprise. Looked like he was going to go to Oregon too. But regardless, yeah, I'm not really paying attention to anything about Trey McNutt going forward. Let's see. Back to the chat here. Doug says Savannah has a Mercedes dealership. I imagine he is helping with recruiting. Savannah? Oh, Saban? Saban has a Mercedes dealership. Yes, exactly. Or Savannah. Savannah Saban. Odysseus says the cheaters are selling recruits a lot of bovine excrement and some are buying it. Yeah, yeah. Lots of bovine excrement. Um, yeah. Hey, maybe they'll have another weenie cookout in a couple of weeks here at the end of the month. Wouldn't it be awesome if we saw photos again of the weenie roast with that crappy plate of food? Was it potato salad and hot dogs? And man, talk about the cheapest food you could possibly eat. But yeah, can't wait to see that. Maybe they'll really go all out and get some chicken tenders, right? But Christopher says him coming to Ohio State rivalry game instead of Auburn's rivalry game school is committed to is definitely without a doubt a huge deal. I agree, Christopher. Daniel, what's up, Daniel? How's it going? You think McNutt takes an official visit to the Ohio State in the next 2 weeks? No, I don't. I don't think he does. No, no, no. I tell you what, he might be the poster child for enjoying the recruiting process the most in this cycle. I don't know anybody else that has sought out more attention than Trey McNutt. Good, bad, and different. That's for you to judge. Just my opinion. I think he's way too needy with the attention. Now, at the same time, I'll say I appreciate what he did for Ohio high school football, getting the spring football, whatever it was, a ban on spring football taken away. Now they can have 7-on-7s. It was great that he stood up and did something for the people coming after him. But when you talk strictly about the recruiting process, he has been a me guy. Oh, and don't forget, when he takes these official visits or unofficial visits, by the way, he's getting paid. These 5 stars get paid, some up to $50,000 per visit. So I don't know how much Richard McNutt made in his professional career, but I bet you an 18-year-old kid would love to have $50K for every visit. I know I would. So one thing to keep in mind, just my 2 cents on Trey McNutt. You can call me crazy, disagree, I don't care. It's fine. Let's see. Back to the chat here. Full-blooded Buckeye says Summer needs to hurry up and leave. Too damn hot. Hey, Joe, you getting swamp ass? Yes, full-blooded Buckeye. I am. And I get a couple daily doses of swamp ass. It's so enjoyable. I love just sweating right through my clothes when I walk from the front door to the car. It's kind of like wintertime up north in Ohio or any northern state. Wintertime, you try and you go run as fast as you can from the front door of your house to your car. Summertime here is the same. You run as fast as you can from the front door to your car so you can crank up the AC. Same shit. Billy says, hope you're right, Christopher, but I know some people at Letterman Road don't think it means much. Okay. Well, I'm not sure those guys have any other insight than we do, honestly. I become kind of disenchanted with a large part of the Ohio State beat, in particular areas. No, nothing personal. I mean, they got the access. I don't. Jerry Emig is not going to give me access to come to the press conferences or interview players and shit like that. So, props to them for getting access. But some parts of the Buckeye beat, I find their opinions kind of just throwing shit against the wall. Like it's not based on anything, So just my opinion. Maybe I'm being a little too opinionated today. I don't know. Maybe it's this fucking heat. Who ordered the code red? Got some thunder rolling in. Uh-oh. Anyway, back to the chat here. Billy says, fingers crossed. That is in regard to McNutt making an official visit in the next 2 weeks. Christopher says, to be honest, Letterman Row isn't the greatest for recruiting. They still think McNutt is coming to Ohio State. Yeah, I'd say that's probably not a strong take for Letterman Row folks. Anyway, I could bang on them too. I mean, they haven't been good since Byrne left them. You know, that's my opinion. But Billy says, I don't think anybody knows where McNutt is going yet. Maybe not even McNutt. That could be the case too. I wouldn't rule that out, Billy, whatsoever. You could be dead on. I don't know. I think because of all the visits he's taken so far, that him just moving a commitment date back, it's just time for him to take more visits, get more of those 50K bags, you know. But who knows? I could be wrong. Doug says, I watched the video of the Cheaters receiver commit, and he was getting tackled in over half of them. Yeah. If you're a receiver in this 2025, any class, 2025 going forward, why would you consider the Cheaters? They don't throw the goddamn ball, man. They run it. The quarterback takes a snap, turns around, hands it off. That's it. That's the offense. That's it. So, yeah. If you're a receiver, man, keep moving, keep looking. You have to have better offers with an offense that actually will throw the ball occasionally, not on 3rd and long, you know. So we'll see. It's nuts. Kids get snowed by a national championship, which was not earned, by the way. Cheated national championship, asterisk. Anyway, I could go on and on. Christopher says, I would bet he knows where he's going, and he's clearly not Ohio State. He's never been interested in Ohio State, and his mom is definitely not wanting him there. Yeah, talking about McNutt. That's pretty much it, Christopher. You just summed up all the reasons why McNutt's not going to Ohio State in one chat comment. Doug says, I think Edric Houston will be starting in 25 season, maybe not day one, but before the middle of the season. Definitely. Yeah. At D end. He'll be strong side D end for sure. I agree 100%. He will definitely be in the 2 deep into the rotation and stuff. So yeah, I agree. No doubt. Houston's already, depending on how deep they want to go with this rotation this year, 2024, I could see Edric getting in more than 4 games and not even considering a red shirt. I could see that, especially these early games against these garbage teams, man. Get him in there. Get him in there early. Billy says, if he knows why did he postpone? Oh, if McNutt knows why did he postpone Christopher? I don't know. Get more of those payments for visiting. You know, you got to remember that these kids are cashing checks every time they go to a college campus, especially 5 stars, especially them. Doug says another site is saying Texas A&M has come in late with a huge offer for McNutt. That's crazy, man. I don't think that's. They might have come in with the offer, but I don't think he's considering them seriously. But Troy says, boil a hot dog and call it a barbecue. That's exactly it, Troy. Yeah, there's a difference between a cookout and a barbecue, right? Everybody knows this, right? A barbecue is like baby back ribs, sauce, slow cooked, whatever. A cookout is just burgers and dogs. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. That's what I think. I used to watch way too much of Andrew Dice Clay back in the 90s. Odysseus says Sharona going to cry for recruits seems to be working some, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, you know he's got the fucking tears going. Sharona. Sharona. Yeah. Let's get through the chat here, and then I'm going to give you guys some matchups. I want to get your opinions on some of these matchups. Regular season wins. Actually, let me go ahead and throw one at you so you got time to comment, and then I'll react to your choices and read them off. So this is regular season team wins, 12 games. Head-to-head matchup, Alabama versus the Cheaters is number 1. The Canes, Miami, Florida versus Clemson is number 2. This one is interesting. Colorado versus Florida. Yeah. Yeah, I took Colorado team win total under 5.5. And then also throw another one at you, 4 of them. Ohio State versus Georgia. So give me your winners. Who will win more regular season games in each of those matchups? Let me pop these in the chat so you can read them. And I also have the juice. There you go. Whoops, that doesn't look good. Delete that. They all kind of ran together. Sorry. One second. I got to enter these each separately. Okay. There you go. Those are the 4. All right. So take your time. I'm going to continue reading the chat while you pop your answers in there, and we'll get to those shortly. Okay. Doug says Savannah is my granddaughter. My phone changed the spelling of Saban. Nice. Yep. Way to cover that one up, Doug. We really fell for the granddaughter comment. Quote unquote. Just kidding. But Isia says, don't forget the banquet chicken tenders. Exactly. Those are money. Do they microwave those, you think? They just rolled out a bunch of microwaves for that banquet, the buffet, fired up all the microwaves. All right, tenders are out. Oh, they're all mushy. Should have got ovens. Billy says Fahim is better than anyway. Yeah, I like Fahim Delane much better than Trey McNutt. What is Shaker Heights? Is Shaker Heights D1, D2? I gotta pull that up because sometimes, football division, sometimes, yeah, they're D2. Yeah, they're with Sandusky, Sydney, Mentor, Salone, Shaker Heights. Okay. So they're D2. So they play some good quality teams. I'd like to compare apples to apples. But yeah, Fahim coming from the DMV plays at a big time program. That's Our Lady Good Counsel, I believe, up in the Maryland. I do like him much better. Odysseus says helps improve the 40 time in summer down there and winters up here. Exactly. Yeah, running from your front door to your car. Exactly. Yeah, man. I think I've been laser timed in my 40 in wintertime back in Ohio. I think I put up like a solid 4.55. I think down here, I might be even faster because I'm not wearing as much clothes. I might have broken 4.5. Just kidding. That's not physically possible for me. Christopher says He postponed his commitment to draw in more NIL money and attention. Texas A&M and Oregon are in the NIL war for him. Talking about McNutt. Yep, that's my point, man. If you can make more money, why wouldn't you? Yeah, exactly. It's a solid business decision. I'm not shitting on the kid, man. It's not against the rules. So, just like NIL collectives, it's not against the rules. So I would do it. It's a solid business move, you know. Christopher says Fahim is better. Yes, we agree on that. Billy says makes sense. Doug says Letterman Row has Tim May, and he's kind of the king of interruption, but I digress. Exactly. Yeah. When he wakes up in the middle of the night, does he say, I digress? I digress. Christopher says, I think if we can get Sanders, Bell, and flip Bowman or Autry, we'll be fine. I'll take that. Yeah. Sign me up for that, Christopher. Hell yeah. Philip Bell's good, man. Sad story there with him losing his mom just recently. So I do wonder if he's going to push back that commitment date, middle of August, I think. So let him take his time. But yeah, sign me up for those 5. I don't think Bowman, but I don't think Bowman's going to be a difficult flip from freaking Kentucky, right? Troy says Tim May gets a lot of grief, well-deserved at times, but I still like his stories. Kind of sappy for hearing about the old times. Yeah, he does have some great stories. Occasionally I listen to his podcast when he has like old players, like he had Chris Carter on last week. I like to hear some of the stories, especially with guys that are never in front of a camera anymore, to get their insights into this team are interesting to me. I agree, Troy. Odysseus says, with more, they're probably going to run more than with pocket glizzy hairball. I know, because he's an O-line coach, man. Hell yeah, he wants his guys to look good. But good luck. Lost your entire O-line. And their best sixth man. Ugh, can't talk, man. I need a drink or something. Not water. Tyler said, oh, wait. Whoops. Doug's, damn it. Odysseus says yeah, I read that. Christopher says, but I do know that Day and Fry like to watch kids' junior and senior seasons. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to see some offers go out for some seniors early in the football season. Some guys that maybe they were on the fence, especially Fry with the O-line. But Ryan Day will not pick a quarterback till he sees some junior tape, typically, because it doesn't go well when a kid does not play his junior year yet, and they're already taking a commitment from him. So Christopher says, I like Tim May. That's a vote for Tim. Doug says, if they are serious about rotating more players, I think Houston could be 3 and out. That's legit. That's legit, Doug. I'm with you there. I'm very much with you there. No doubt. Christopher says Clay Hall had some great urban stories today on 97.1 The Fan. I'll go back and check that on the podcast. He was supposed to be on with Rothman. That sounded like a good combo. Lots of good stories. Full Blood Buckeye says, I wonder if Will Howard will be Heisman finalist. Well, I can tell you what the odds of that are. It's not great, Bob. Or Full Blood Buckeye. I think he was like 8th. Let me pull it up here real quick for you. NCAA futures. Heisman. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8. He's 7th. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's first. He just took over first, or favorite. Dylan Gabriel's the favorite. Then Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, Nico Iamaleava, Jalen Milroe, then Will Howard. Will Howard is plus 2,000. So now would be the time to slap some money on him if you think he's going to win it. I don't know if he'll be a finalist. That's a reach. That's a reach, but I do have. So I'm starting a new series of the Daily Buckeye Blitz, a new series called Joe's Hot Takes, not to be confused with Joe's Hot Cakes. I'm a big pancake fan. No, really. So I'm running through the positions, each group, and I've got a good one coming out about Will Howard, and that's going to be my first hot take for this season. So check that out. I can tell you that is coming out on, is it Monday? No, Sunday. Yeah, I just gathered some information. Sunday. Keep an eye out for Joe's Hot Take, take one. I'm going to do every position group. So, and I probably should mention before we run out of time. Me, Jeff, and Sean are back tonight, Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on the YouTube Live. So hope you will join us. We'll be back, and then we might take a couple weeks off, but really it seems like football season is kicking off on Monday with Big Ten media days. And so I feel like we're going to have to start going weekly and back to full speed, like the season is, almost on us. Back to the chat. Full-blooded Buckeye on the Howard for Heisman finalist. So what is that? The final three? Yeah, I think he could be a finalist. I don't think he wins it though. I have a feeling that Milroe is going to do some crazy shit down at Bama. I don't expect anything out of USC's quarterback. Gabriel at Oregon, depends if they lose a game like against us. I don't know. And you don't know what you're going to get out of Nico Iamaleava, Quinn Ewers. You don't know what you're going to get. He was good last year, not great. Carson Beck, same. He has the eyes of a goat. Weird looking dude, but regardless, he plays for a team that's probably going to be undefeated, so that helps. A lot of it has to do with how many losses these teams take, also. So, yeah, I don't see Will Howard winning the Heisman, but he could be a finalist. Yeah, I could see that. Tyler says these kids aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. The only reason why McNutt postponed his commitment date is to get more money from all these schools. Exactly. Nailed it, Tyler. I agree. Doug says they can drink the hot dog water and call it soup up north. Yummy. Hot dog water soup. Soup du jour. That sounds good. I think I'll have that. Odysseus says Bama for the first matchup. So Odysseus takes Bama in the Bama versus Michigan matchup. I'm with you there. Agree 100%. Doug says Colorado versus Florida. Call it the Flaming Dumpster Bowl. Yeah, exactly. Tyler says Bama over Michigan. Tyler says Miami over Colorado. Tyler says Ohio State over Georgia. Nice. Like it. Odysseus says Clemson, Florida, and Ohio State. Okay, so Odysseus has Clemson over the Canes. I agree with that. And sorry, I lost my spot. Florida over Colorado. I agree with that. Even they got the toughest schedule in the country, man. But yeah, I still think Deion's not going to win enough games. And then the Buckeyes over Georgia. I agree with that. Tyler says the only problem with Florida is they have a far tougher schedule than Colorado. Not even close. Yes, I agree 100%. I was just looking at the strength of schedules for this season, according to Phil Steele, and Florida is number 1. That's bad. Colorado number 13. So Colorado's is not as easy as you think, but not as tough as Florida's. That's for sure. Those bastards. Napier should have looked ahead. Why didn't he look at the schedules before he took that job? He should have just waited a couple of years, man. That's dumb. Christopher says Bama over the Cheaters, Clemson over the Canes, Florida over Colorado, and Ohio State over Georgia. I feel like we're all kind of in the same boat here. Doug says the same. Bama, Clemson, Florida, Ohio State. I agree. Full-blooded Buckeye says Bama, Clemson, Florida, Ohio State. I feel like a broken record here. All right, let me throw a few more at you since we got some time. All right, I got some more. Okay, next, let's give you two more. This one's interesting to me. Oregon versus Georgia. Notre Dame versus LSU. Let me drop them in here. Oregon versus Georgia, Notre Dame versus LSU. You can see the juice there. Those are the numbers after the team name. So give me your thoughts on that. And I'm going to continue reading the chat while you guys answer those questions. Doug Shepard says, is that 4.55 in the 40-foot dash? Maybe, Doug. Maybe. Funny guy. I'll take a 4.55 in a 40-foot dash right now. That's a good one. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you. Tyler says, so I'm going to go Florida. Okay. Tyler takes Florida over Colorado. Christopher says, I've seen Tim May and Dieter and Daniel Sanchez on. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a solid family, man. Those people are doing a lot of recruiting for the Buckeyes, man. A lot of people don't realize that. That family is kicking ass for us. They should be on staff. Troy says, Florida, Clemson, Bama, Buckeyes. If that was for confidence of who wins those matches. Okay. Yep. So basically, I think we're all saying Bama, Florida, Clemson, and Ohio State. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Great minds think alike. Let's see. Odysseus says, wouldn't shock me if Colorado versus Florida was one Coach Prime gunning for the other Napier's job after his kids are done at Colorado. That is a thought. That is a thought. What will happen to Coach Prime in 2025? Because they're probably not going to make a bowl game. I don't see them winning six games. They're definitely not making the playoffs. And Shador is gone. He has nothing in the freaking coffers. He has no recruits. He's going to leave somebody with just empty cupboards, whoever takes that job next. It's maybe it's worth it to Colorado, the administration. Maybe it's worth it. They're selling a lot of tickets. Enrollment is through the roof. So maybe he did his job and they're happy to let him go. We'll see. But I agree, Odysseus, that could be Coach Prime gunning for the Florida job. Christopher says, world needs Clay Hall and Dom Tiberi on the same show. Imagine them telling stories together. Yeah, that would be interesting. Badass Buckeye, what's up, Bab? Will Howard will be a game manager on this team. No chance of winning Heisman. Oh, come on, Bab. Well, you're not going to enjoy Sunday's episode of the Daily Blitz then. But because I respect your opinion, but we'll see. We'll see. Remember, it is a Ryan Day offense. Quarterbacks have done pretty well there. Christopher says, I wonder if someone will ask Ryan Day about Chip calling plays from the sideline and who they will put in the booth. They got that Tim Drebno, who worked a lot with Chip Kelly. He also worked for the Cheaters, should be noted. So I would think you're going to have some of these analysts that are allowed to be on staff now as coaches. So it's unlimited coaching staffs, right? You don't have to be the analysts, guys that are analysts right now. They can coach on field, off field. The question is how many people can be on the headsets, radioing. Obviously, Chip will be radioing the plays, probably a walkie-talkie to the quarterback's helmet. But as far as how many people are on the headsets the coaches are on, do you want a lot of guys on that? Probably not. So, I think you want somebody with experience, though, that knows what they're looking at, like a Kevin Wilson. Remember, Kevin Wilson was technically not the OC. He wasn't calling plays, but he was up in the booth, you know. So yeah, that's a good question, though. I do wonder. It seems like the sideline is the last place I would want to be if I'm a coordinator, just because it's like mayhem down there. You know, it's like everybody running around like chickens with their heads cut off and shit. But it's a good question, Christopher. Christopher says maybe see when Day is going to make a decision on naming a starting QB. That's an excellent question. Yeah. I think, again, I said this last year at this time. You got to name them by week 2 of fall camp. Must. You got to let the guys, the ones, need to work with the starting quarterback before the season starts. Now, fortunately, we have 3 shit games to start the season, so that makes life a little easier, but just get it over with. I mean, come on. We know who it is, right? Christopher says Beck looks like he's from Wrong Turn. Yeah, that's a good one. Undervalued movie. Billy says Howard will have weapons like he has never had before. He might surprise us. That's my point, Billy. Check it out Sunday. I think you're going to enjoy my first hot take of the season. Those weapons are key. He did not have anything like that at K-State. That's a good point, Billy. Pat on the back for you. Badass Buckeye says Milrow will be much improved, which is why Bama will still be good. Yes, I agree. I think Milrow will be better. And I think DeBoer will utilize his talents better than Bama did last year under Saban. So it's going to be interesting. You know, DeBoer can put together an offense. Badass Buckeye says Bama will win more than Michigan. I agree. Okay, so we got Oregon versus Georgia. Who wins more? Notre Dame versus LSU. These are head-to-head matchups. Who wins more? Okay, Odysseus says Georgia in the first. Okay, Notre Dame in the second. All right. I think I agree with you there. The trick is that Georgia, was it Georgia-Texas game? Yeah. That's the one that is holding me back from calling a undefeated season for Georgia. That's the one thing. But let me need to pull up their schedule here real quick. Yeah, at Texas in October. They got a tough freaking schedule, Georgia does, man. Let me check where they ranked. Yeah, they got the 8th toughest schedule in the country, according to Phil Steele. Bama 9th. Clemson, they're already favored by 2 touchdowns over Clemson, so I'm not worried about that. But at Alabama, at Texas, cocktail party versus Florida is not a big deal. Versus Tennessee, maybe a more difficult game. Really depends if on injuries and stuff like that. So they got a decent schedule. So let's see where everybody else is at. Troy says Georgia, Notre Dame. All right. I think we're all. I mean that Nussmeier kid for LSU. How good is he going to be? He looked good in the bowl game, but you know, he's not the only issue. Their defense was atrocious last year. Can they fix that? You know, so I'm with you guys. Georgia and Notre Dame. Georgia LSU, says Christopher. Interesting. Okay. Tyler says Georgia Notre Dame. Notre Dame is the heavy favorite there to win that matchup. Doug says Georgia Notre Dame. Full-blooded Buckeye says Oregon and LSU. Okay. So Oregon wins more games than LSU. How many games? Does Oregon win 11 or 12? Because they have to win one more than Georgia. That means Georgia takes a loss, maybe Texas and Bama. That would be my 2 choices, but that's an interesting take there, full-blooded Buckeye. And LSU, so you went with the underdogs. That's interesting. Good value on them. Doug says, actually, like Tim May, I always look forward to his articles in the Columbus Dispatch. Yeah. Yep. He was a good writer. Good stories for sure. Surprised he hasn't written a book, right? Has he ever written a book? Seems like he should. All the stories and stuff, articles he's written. Christopher says, to be honest, I would love to see Dion get fired and go back to HBCU, but I think he stays at Colorado for another year. Okay. Well, if he stays at Colorado after Shadur's gone, then why ever leave? You know, until another big job opens up that you like. There's no reason to leave after a year after Shadur's gone. I think he could stay 5 then. Full-blooded Buckeye says Sanders sucks. Florida will not hire him. 100. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he went back to Florida, not Florida State. That would be weird. I think even for Dion, as much as he's tried to downplay being a Florida State alum, I think it'd be really weird for him to be a Gator. Because back when he played in college football, man, that was a serious rivalry. Florida versus Florida State. It's like, yeah, it'd be like an Ohio State guy going to coach the cheaters, Yeah, I don't think so. Troy says the way Dion builds a team is why I think he'll struggle to get a real coaching job. After Colorado, he's basically all portal, no recruiting. Exactly. Yeah, and you got to put in some freaking effort, man. I mean, this should be obvious, right, to everybody. I mean, we're saying it, so it should be obvious to Dion. You got to get in people's living rooms, So I agree. You can't go all portal all the time. Odysseus says they'll probably have Drebno in the booth. I agree with that. That would be where I would lean. I'm fine with just about anybody, but it has to be somebody with extensive offensive experience, right? And he's got a lot of it. Christopher says, I trust Chip on the sideline. He's been there calling plays and working face-to-face with QB for a while now. Yeah, I agree. He did that a lot at Oregon, UCLA, everywhere he's been, really. He's called plays from the sideline, but that's a lot of times because he was the head coach. He had to be on the sideline, But we'll see how it works out. Tyler says Beck looks like Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. I don't know that one, but sounds funny. Christopher says, I agree. Drebno has experience with Chip and Day has trust in him. Exactly. And he's got a long history of coaching offensive football. Christopher says, Tyler, that's Angel Reese, LOL. Who knew Angel Reese had that? Yikes. Anyway, Doug says, won't Milroe have a new offensive coordinator? That matters. Yeah, he will. But I think DeBoer can work well with a quarterback and bring his talents out, not restrict him. And just call plays that work with his skill set. Christopher says, yeah, but Dion doesn't like FSU. He doesn't even really claim them. Yeah, I know. I've heard his quotes and all that over the last couple of years, but I still don't think he could go to Florida. Miami would even be a stretch, in my opinion. Hell, anybody in the SEC would be a stretch too. But all right, folks, we're going to get out the door here. I'm going to go pour a cocktail. Please hit the like button on your way out the door. And please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And we will be back Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Me, Jeff, and Sean talking Buckeye football. And, of course, you got your daily blitz in your YouTubes and podcast form, of course. So appreciate everybody popping in. Thank you for celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the Daily Buckeye Blitz, starting year 3 tomorrow. Wrapping up the chat here, last couple comments. Who got in under the wire? Badass Buckeye says Howard's talent level is closer to McCord than Stroud or Fields. He will look great versus cupcakes and just serviceable versus top 5 teams, which is why I said game manager. I understand what you mean. We'll see. Got to let it play out. But I understand. Full Blood Buckeye says, I don't think FSU is too bothered by that. Dion's comments, yeah, I agree. And Christopher says SEC and Big Ten is going to be fun to watch. Yes, more great matchups, as always. All right, later, badass Buckeye. Later, everybody. Talk to you. And Odysseus, appreciate you. Talk to you later. Go Bucks.